What's up, everybody? This is Mastery Gamer, and oh my gosh, we get to ride her bike. That's right, everybody. We just got the gameplay trailer for the new Overwatch Season 3 hero, Shion, and in it we get a breakdown of her kit, which does indeed involve riding her motorcycle. Wow. We're waiting to see Kiriko on her bike, and instead, we got Shion. But in this video, I want to go ahead and break down all the abilities we see her showcasing here in this trailer, because she has a rather interesting looking kit, all things considered, and one which, interestingly, does not seem to connect with the one we had leaked previously. So getting into her kit now and looking at the actual ability list that Blizzard has now provided, first up we have the Kira pistols, not the Kira pistols, which are described as rapid fire anima pistols. Now, based on the gameplay here, it's not really clear whether they're like an single fire ability like Reapers, where you just hold the fire button and he alternates between the two, or if it's more like a Malga weapon where you can choose which weapon to fire. As based on the gameplay footage we have, she seems to just kind of randomly fire one or the other. That doesn't particularly seem to be a pattern to which one she shoots at any given time. But based on the kit that's provided, it seems there isn't a difference between the two. So it's not like one gun has a certain effect and the other one has a different one like Malga, but instead is just, you know, they do the same thing, so probably more like Reaper, I would assume then. And maybe it's just the visual flair of it firing one versus the other. But either way, they do look to be hit scan weapons, and presumably have a sort of short to mid-range effectiveness based on how we see her using them here. But then we get onto her abilities, the first being Execution. Fire an X-shaped volley, hold to tighten its spread. So this one's interesting. This one feels to me kind of similar to Fan the Hammer in a way, where you just, you know, fire both pistols at once in a sort of like quick burst of damage. Although rather than it just being a random spread, it's an X-shaped volley that I guess by holding it, you have to sort of like, you know, take the risk of delaying the firing in order to get the tighter spread on it. I'm curious to see how long you can hold this. Can you hold it indefinitely? Just stand there shooting in an X formation indefinitely until someone snipes you in the head? I don't really know. It just seems like kind of a fancy alternate fire for her in a sense. Again, very similar to Fan the Hammer, it feels. But then we get her first mobility ability, being Evade, dash and briefly gain overhealth. So this seems very similar to just Lifeweaver's dash or Hanzo's lunge, where, yeah, it's just like a little quick omnidirectional movement, and then she gets a bit of overhealth from it. A very simple ability. I mean, I like the way it looks. It kind of looks like a bullet time almost in the way she sort of still shoots after jumping in a way. So it looks cool, but functionally I think is a pretty simple ability, which is fine. And then we get Joyride. Rev your engine, reactivate to dismount and launch your bike forward. Here we go. This is going to be the fun meme mechanic of her kit, riding around the bike. Yes, this seems to be a more substantial form of mobility for her, where she can probably just sort of, you know, zoom around the map on her bike, help her to get to different positions, and then when she dismounts it, she can launch it forward into the enemy to do damage. I don't know how much damage, but it does seem like it's going to be an AoE with like the way it explodes. And you can even launch it into the air, as we see her hitting the Pharah in this clip here. When she jumps and dismounts, it launches it upward, which is pretty cool as well. So yeah, this is definitely going to be like the fun ability of her kit. And then we have her ultimate, Satsuriku Spree. Rush forward 3 times in a storm of gunfire. This to me feels like a variant of Reaper's ultimate, where it looks like she dashes forward and then does like a mini Reaper ult, and then does that 3 times as part of the ultimate. So she can dash, do a bunch of damage, dash, do more damage, and then dash a 3rd time to follow up with more damage as well. I'm very curious to see what the actual damage output on this mechanic is, how much this is going to dish out. I'm not expecting it to be as damaging as a Reaper ult, but it does seem to functionally seem pretty similar. And then last, for the core part of her kit, we have her sub role, which is the flanker role. Health packs restore more health. And outside of that, she doesn't have any passives. No unique quick melee mechanic, no other particular passive abilities, which is rather interesting because when we consider the leak again, it seems like at this point that the leak was just not accurate. Some things seem to connect, particularly the dual pistols and the execution mechanic even. You could argue making her similar to Cassidy in that it's kind of similar to Fan the Hammer, but she doesn't have a unique melee mechanic at all. We don't even see her using the knife, interestingly, that we saw in her animated teaser trailer. We just see instead in the gameplay footage that she just bops people with the butt of her gun. So yeah, interesting. It seems like the leaks either were straight up fake or possibly even were just going off of information of an earlier iteration of this hero. I also wouldn't be surprised if at one point she did have a unique quick melee that had some extra effect and that, over time, hero development wise, she just changed into what we have here today. Lastly, though, I should also talk about her perks. We have the minor and major perks. Looking at the minor perks first. Rapid Reload, Evade reloads 9 ammo, and Ex Machina, Execution does 20% more damage to enemies below half health. So it makes it more of a finisher mechanic as you deal more damage to weaker enemies. And then the major perks, Refuel, Joyride instantly restores 50 health and regenerates 20 health per second while active. So you can use it to sort of ride around and heal yourself. That's interesting. I feel like that could be kind of annoying to just have her zip off on her bike and suddenly be full healed after only a few seconds. And then Faces of Death gain all other damage sub-roll passives. Now this one is rather interesting because, again, going to the leak, originally the leak had said that she'd be the sharpshooter sub-roll, but no, she's indeed a flanker. But then Faces of Death technically does make her a sharpshooter, along with all the other roles as well. I'm curious to see how this one ends up working, because this is like a very strange perk. It's the sort of thing that, we don't really see anything like this on other heroes. It just gives her other passive sub-roll bonuses. I don't know. I'm really curious about this one. I think it'll be an interesting perk, to say the least. I feel like it's either going to be broken or worthless. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, I guess. And that does it for the overall kit breakdown of Shion, the new damage hero. I gotta say, her kit overall isn't that complex. It feels kind of simple, but we have really fun mechanics in there, being the Joyride bike more than anything, I would say. And all in all, it does seem like a decent kit. It's not overly complex, but it doesn't need to be. I'm very excited to get to play around with her. I think she looks very fun. And I will say that in terms of her actual in-game appearance with her hero model, I think she looks pretty good. There was some concern that they would Kirikoify her, but I think she looks well enough like her own character. I think it'll be hard to confuse her with any other heroes on the roster just at a glance. And she seems like a solid hero from what we can tell so far. I'm definitely excited to get to play her once she drops with the new season on Tuesday. And on that note, I would love to hear your thoughts as well in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on her kit and abilities? Does she look fun to play to you? Are you excited to get to try her out? Maybe she's a little different than what you'd expected, and if so, I would love to hear all about it in the comments. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, hit up that bell icon, follow me on X to join my Discord server to hang out, and never miss any future Overwatch news, streams, and other content. I will be going live shortly after I upload this video, talking more about the new hero, and also just playing some Overwatch with the new drives that are going live. So feel free to swing by and hang out, and otherwise, this is Master Ian Gamer signing off, and until next time, have a great day.